Your home can be beautiful, recently updated, and priced very close to the competition, and still end up sitting on the market for weeks or even months. And once buyers see that, they see a home that's just been sitting, they start to ask a very dangerous question. What's wrong with it? There has to be something wrong with that house. The problem with most homes that do end up just sitting isn't necessarily because they're bad homes. It's usually because of mistakes that were made before that home ever hit the market. So let me do this. Let me show you how good homes end up just becoming stale listings and how you can make sure that yours doesn't. Here's probably one of the biggest misconceptions that I do find some homeowners have, and that is that good homes pretty much sell themselves. Not necessarily, not in today's market in 2026. That's just not how we're seeing buyers respond. I mean, you can have a home in a great neighborhood with a beautifully updated kitchen and fantastic curb appeal and still find your home just sitting on the market. My point though is just simply this, is homes don't always necessarily become stale listings because they're bad homes. No, many times it really just comes down to this. They end up becoming a stale listing because buyers stop paying attention. And once that happens, once you lose buyer attention, make no mistake, it becomes much harder to get your house sold. Sorry, real quick, if this is your first time here, my name's Jose and I am your SoCal Realtor. Here we help Inland Empire homeowners sell smart, buy their next home better, and move with confidence. So if that is you, if you are looking to make a move, don't hesitate to reach out. My contact information is below. We help people just like you every single day. But enough about that. Let's go ahead and get back to the rest of the video. Okay, so if it's not always because a home is bad, well then, why does a home end up sitting on the market? And the answer is there's a few reasons for that. And let's do this. Let's start with the first one that I'm sure you're probably already expecting to hear me say, and that is overpricing it from day one. The thing is though, it's probably the biggest one. Yeah, when a home hits the market overpriced, serious buyers are just gonna skip right on by and go see the next house. And now, before you even know it, weeks have gone by, the showings have slowed down, maybe even stopped altogether, and just, buyer interest in your house is it's completely dropped off. And now your home has lost any opportunity for momentum in those critical first few weeks. The reality is the first price, the initial listing price, it's oftentimes more important than the second price. Because once buyers have moved on, it can be kind of tough to get them back, get them to stop paying attention to all the new listings that are just coming on the market. It can be tough. It can be kind of difficult to be able to do that. Now, the next reason why a home will end up just sitting on the market, at least I anyway find that it does surprise some homeowners, and that is poor presentation. It's like the old saying goes, you only get one shot at a first impression. Today, that first impression is happening online. And if the photos that they're looking at online, if they aren't very good, if the rooms look a little cramped or cluttered, or if the home just looks a little dark, or if it doesn't present well, it's probably not very likely that you're going to get very many buyers coming out and saying, gee, we got a scheduled showing. We can't wait to see this house. It's not very likely. Because here's the thing. The challenge is this, is buyers right now, they're comparing your home to everything else that they're seeing online. And make no mistake, how much more attention a well-prepared home will get. And attention, yeah, that's the name of the game. That's what leads to offers. Now, not that many years ago, it was more than enough that when a home went up for sale, you put it in the MLS and you sit back and wait for the offers to start coming in. But in today's market, no, that doesn't work anymore. No, today when a home first launches, you need exposure. You need strong exposure, and that only comes from one way, and that is having an aggressive marketing strategy to capture buyer attention. That's what's going to attract as many qualified buyers as possible to find your house, say, hey, this is it, want to come out, go see your house, fall in love with it, and make an offer. Listen, even with the best of intentions, over time, buyer attention, it does tend to naturally start to kind of fade away. That's why I will go back to what I said just a moment ago. You need to make sure that you are taking full advantage of those critical first few weeks that your home is hitting the market. Because the longer it sits, the harder it becomes to create urgency. The fourth reason is ignoring buyer expectations. And this one, it does kind of tie in pretty directly to what we just talked about because, again, if you had a good marketing plan, you captured buyer attention, they found your house. Remember what I said. Buyers are comparing. They're comparing your home to everything else that they have seen, everything else that's available out there. Now, when I say that though, let me just clarify. I'm not saying that means that great, do we got to remodel, we got to redo the kitchen, no, it's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that we're finding that today's buyers, they're comparing value very carefully. In other words, if competing homes offer things like fresh paint or updated flooring or maybe seller credits or just a better overall presentation, buyers notice that. And that's why it's so important that your pricing, your marketing, they all accurately reflect everything that your home does bring to the market. Sometimes homeowners, they do tend to focus, just on everything that they personally loved about the house. Meanwhile, buyers, they're just simply comparing. They're looking at your house and then comparing it to everything else that's out there and available. And that gap right there, that can create problems. This next one you might have also expected to hear me bring this one up, and that is chasing the market with price cuts. This is a trap I find a lot of sellers getting caught in. The home, it hits the market, but with a price that's too high. And now the showings, they're kind of a little slow during those also important first few weeks. Then comes the price cut, maybe even another price cut, and maybe even another one after that. And this isn't a secret. I mean, buyers can see this information on most consumer websites. So sure, when they see that first price drop, they might start thinking, hey, that looks like it might be a deal. But after a few price drops, why do they keep dropping the price? I mean, there must be something wrong with it. This is when homeowners end up losing money. And again, not necessarily because the home is bad, but rather because the strategy, that was bad. That's what allowed the listing for their home to end up becoming stale. By the way, if you are thinking about selling and making a move and you'd like just a simple step-by-step resource to help you prepare your home before you do put it on the market, I put together a free home sellers checklist that helps walk you through what you need to know to properly prepare your home to make sure you don't lose money when you sell it. You'll find the link for that down below, but definitely grab that after the video. Here's the good news. Most stale listings are actually very preventable, and the formula for that is really pretty simple because a stale listing didn't become a problem after it hit the market. No, the problem was already there before the listing ever went live. So then what's the formula? Well, it's the right price, the right presentation, and the right exposure. Let me explain. When you study the local market and focus on the right price for your home from the start, you avoid the issue of no showings followed up by price drops trying to catch up to the local market. Also, the right presentation, because like we talked about just a moment ago, it's all about first impressions, their first impression of your home online, their first impression of your home in person. If that first impression is weak, that usually leads to a home just sitting on the market and going stale. And of course, the right exposure, because if buyers don't see your home, well, you're making the other two on this list much harder than they need to be. I mean, if they don't find your home somehow, some way, then does it really matter if your home is priced right or presents well and they don't even know it's for sale? This is something we help homeowners with all the time because listen, no two homes and no two markets are exactly the same. What might have worked for one seller is not an automatic guarantee that it's going to be the right fit for the next one. So listen, if you are thinking about selling and you'd like help with being able to put together the right game plan for your next move, my contact info is below. Feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to have that conversation with you. Also, don't forget to download my free gift for you, the Home Sellers Checklist. The link again, that's down below. A question that I do get a lot from sellers that have, they've decided we're done, we're ready to sell, we're ready to make a move, but what happens to our existing mortgage? Or more simply put, what happens if my house isn't paid off yet before I sell? How does that work? Well, I did make a video where I dove pretty deep into that answer. In fact, I hit it from a few different angles answering that question. So if that's you, if you're ready to sell and you're like most people, you do still have a mortgage on the house, you're definitely going to want to watch this video right here next. I'll catch you over there.